the earliest cities. The life of the people. Life in the city. A Harappan city must have been a very busy place. There must be a group of people who actually looked after the city, the government or the rulers. They must be the ones planning and maintaining the city, organizing trade, making rules, etc. What did they eat? We have found the charred remains of sesame, that is til, and mustard or mohuri in cooking pots. They might have eaten leafy vegetables too, but those do not have hard remains like seeds that we can find today. There were cattle pens for various types of animals, so meat must have been eaten by those people as well. In the Vedas, there is also a mention of barley and ghee. Archaeologists use such clues and try to put together a picture of what the Harappans may have been eating. Barley, wheat, rice and dates must have been their main food items. They also had fruits like melons, pomegranates and bananas. Tandoor-like pots have been found, so they probably even had some roti-like bread. How did they farm? They must have used plows to turn the soil. Though archaeologists have not found real plows, they did find toy plows in the excavations. As the places where the Harappan towns are don't receive heavy rainfall, they must have had some kind of irrigation method for farming. The farmers and herdsmen must have lived outside the city and supplied food to the city people. The soil was fertile. They must have grown 2 crops a year. They probably grew wheat, barley, mustard, sesame, cotton, and millets. Villages were located near floodplains of the river. They grew enough food for the people of the village and city. The Harappans were the earliest people to grow cotton. The Greeks learnt about cotton from the Indians. That is why they called it Sindhin, since it came from the river Sindhu, which is another name for the Indus. What animals did they rear? Harappans probably had domestic animals like dogs, sheep, goats, oxen, buffaloes, camels, elephants, horses, and pigs. Archaeologists have guessed this from the terracotta figures and bone remains that they have found. What did they wear? Men and women must have dressed in colorful robes. They had a cloth around their lower body, like a skirt, and another fabric for their upper body. Men may have also worn a headdress. Did they have jewellery? Women wore necklaces, bangles, bracelets, earrings, and waistbands. Ornaments were made of gold, silver, bone, stone, ivory, and shell. The rich wore jewellery made of gold and silver. The poor used shell, copper, and silver ornaments. Women combed their hair and used mirrors made from shiny copper. Men and women both wore jewellery. They wore rings and armlets too. What did they do for fun? The Harappans probably enjoyed dance. There are statues of dancing girls and dancing figures on seals that were found in the city. Dice have been found, so the Harappans may have played board games. A large public bath was found at Mohenjo-daro, so bathing was probably an important activity too. A lot of children's toys made of terracotta have been found too. They also found these statues. Were Harappans religious? A lot of statues have been found which suggest that the Harappans worshipped a mother goddess. There are seals with Pashupati and Shivalingas. Pashupati is considered to be the god of cattle. It is also possible that the Harappans were fire worshippers. We can say that because many fire altars have been found in the cities. The later Harappan seals also show images of the swastika, which is an important symbol in Hinduism. The early Harappans buried their dead with food and articles. They probably believed in life after death. The later Harappans were cremated and their ashes were buried in urns, quite similar to what the Hindus do. We know this because there were special areas for cremation which have been excavated by archaeologists. There may have been a religious head of the people. Some statues have been found that look like a priest king. Think and discuss. What deities did the Harappans worship? How do we know that Harappan people had respect for the dead? What can we infer from the fact that the Harappans buried the dead with weapons and other animals? Harappan Jobs. The Harappans were into weaving, metalworking, toy making, stone cutting, and making jewellery. The main occupation of the Harappans must have been farming. They also seemed to master the art of pottery. Harappan pottery. Harappan pottery is of very high quality and made on the wheel. The pots are glazed and painted well. Black color has been used to paint the designs on pots. Silver and copper pots and vessels have been found in the cities too. Harappan weaving. Archaeologists have found bits of actual cloth attached to some objects that they've excavated. Cloth normally does not last for so many years, so it's tricky to guess. They found spindles that were used to spin thread, and from that they have to guess the activity. The Indus people were skilled in spinning yarn and weaving fabric. The Harappans must have even made cloth from the hair of sheep and goat. They also knew how to dye cloth in different colors. Harappan crafts. Looking at how good the weaving, pottery, painting and jewellery of the Harappans is, we can guess that the people were trained well to do these things. That means they must have been quite organized in their training programs and education too. Seals in Harappa. More than 2,000 seals were found. Most of them are square-shaped. They were probably used for trade. Archaeologists have not yet been able to decode the writing on the seals. Most seals have animal pictures. The seals have provided a lot of information about the daily life of the people, their religion, occupations, customs, and trade. All seals are smoothly glazed. They were probably used by traders for stamping. They could be worn around the neck or arm too. Indus Valley seals have been found in Mesopotamia. This shows that there was trade and contact between the two places. Think and discuss. How do we know that Harappan people knew the art of writing? Trade in Harappa. Trade was systematic. They used standard weights and measures to measure things even then. They exported things like textiles, fragrances, beads, and other objects to Egypt and Western Asia. Trade in Harappa. Many items that we have found in Harappa are made from things that have come from far away. The raw material for these objects has come from Rajasthan, Karnataka, Gujarat, Afghanistan, Iran, and even Oman. Dholavira, another Harappan city, was excavated in Gujarat. It is at Dholavira in the Run of Kutch. Dholavira was divided into three parts. Each part was surrounded by massive stone walls. Dholavira was the grandest city of its time. It was an important center of trade. They also found large letters of the Harappan script that were carved out of white stone and probably laid in wood. Lothal. At the Harappan town of Lothal in Gujarat, a huge dockyard was excavated. Ships must have loaded and unloaded there. There were storehouses where they found lots of seals. There were also workshops where beads must have been made. Lothal is just a 3-hour drive from Ahmedabad. You can actually visit it and see the excavated city yourself. How it ended. The mystery of the end. No one knows what happened to the people of the Indus Valley. At most of the settlements, the population went on decreasing. There could have been earthquakes or floods that finished them off. There was probably climate change, the river course may have changed, the Aryans may have invaded these people. In some cities, the damage suggests that some attacks had happened. At Mohenjo-daro, broken stone busts of men have been found. There have been hasty burials of the dead within houses instead of cemeteries. Archaeologists have also found some stashes of jewellery hidden under the house floors. What do all these things tell us? These things tell us that there were problems in the city in its last days. Think and discuss. Mention any 2 theories about how the Harappan civilization must have come to an end. A special feature. In all the things that the archaeologists have found, there is no evidence of armies, kings, slaves, prisons, etc. All other civilizations have had plenty of these negative things. None of these bad things were found in the Harappan civilization. We can say that they were a really special and advanced civilization indeed. Isn't that amazing? The rest of the world. The Indus Valley Civilization is about 7,000 years old. There are 2 more ancient civilizations, not as old as the Indus, but quite old. One is the Egyptian and one is the Mesopotamian. Egyptian civilization. Egypt is a country in Africa around the river Nile. About 5,000 years ago, the pharaohs ruled over Egypt. When the pharaohs died, they were buried in huge pyramids with weapons, ornaments, food, musical instruments, and servants. These were one of the most elaborate burials in world history. Mesopotamian Civilization. This was in the region of Iran, Syria, and Turkey. It wasn't one civilization, but a mixture of many. They had lots of gods and lots of temples. Archaeologists believe that this was where the wheel was invented. Comparing civilizations. The Indus Valley Civilization was by far the most advanced. They had planned cities, drainage systems, and public amenities, which even many cities today don't have. No other civilization had all these features.